The only thing I like ever really knew about Corpse Husband was that he was the guy with like a really deep voice. I thought he was a VTuber, but he wasn't. All I knew was that like the internet went super crazy over what he sounded like, and then he got so famous. But then he had like health issues and whatnot, and he had to eventually leave the whole content creating platform. So yeah, this is a 17-minute video. So like I'll try my best not to pause in between it and whatnot. So I'll have to see. And the thing is that I've mentioned that if Corpse Husband was a male VTuber, he would have been the most popular one. I think the most popular male VTuber is like Japanese or something, or Korean. I completely forget. I completely forgot.
Corpse spent years building up a dream career as a content creator, amassing over 10 million subscribers on YouTube.
Oh my god! Oh! Almost 3 million on his music channel and 7 million in his normal channel. The guy would have peaked if he was a male VTuber. The man would have taken the crown!
Releasing a platinum hit record and finding himself in a social circle consisting of creators such as PewDiePie, Penguin Zero, and Pokimane, all of which he did without revealing his identity.
Jesus.
However, his dream career had a brutal dark side. He faced relentless doxing, vicious attacks on his appearance, and severe health struggles that only worsened with the pressures of fame. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today, we'll be diving into the career of Corpse, his meteoric rise to fame, and the various issues and controversies that led him to abandon his 7 million subscriber YouTube channel and cause him to lose over 250,000 subscribers. But before we dive into why...
Holy craps. I remember, like I said, I remember the first time I've ever heard of Corpse Husband was during COVID, where he was like popular through like the whole Among Us series between streamers and whatnot that were just playing together and like making content together and whatnot. And Corpse made his appearance, and everyone was like, "Whoa, who is this guy with this kind of voice?" And dude, I even remember around the time when I was like just playing some like games like this was like around the time where I was like playing League of Legends for a year. I remember meeting like so many girls through Discord saying, "Oh my god, you know Corpse Husband and whatnot." There was a lot of people that like went crazy over him, but then there was a lot of people that hated him. And you want to know the worst part was that majority of the time I played at really late nights, so I used to talk like this whenever it was late at night. I used to talk like this so I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't wake up my siblings and all that stuff, right? So I'm just saying it. That's how I used to talk like whenever it was night. And there was a lot of people telling me that I sounded like Corpse Husband, and I was like, "Who's Corpse Husband?" And then I looked him up, and that's how I discovered him. That's how I first discovered him, and then I started seeing him in the Among Us videos and whatnot.
He left, let's first look into why he was so famous to begin with. Corpse's journey started far from the millions of followers he has today. Creating his YouTube channel on the 17th of July 2015, he would upload his first video the following day, a creepypasta reading titled "Last Friday Scary Creepypastas to Tell at Night." The first thing evident to viewers was his naturally deep and raspy voice, which would later be revealed as partial results of chronic health conditions that Corpse was suffering from, such as
a creepypasta fan myself, I never heard of this guy. I feel like I missed out so suddenly now. Me myself as a big creepypasta fan, I feel like I missed out.
FMS, thoracic outlet syndrome,
he voiced AUDITOR in the English dub.
It does contribute to my voice, but not as much as everybody says it does. GERD has like a spectrum to it. They put a scope down my throat through my nostrils, and my throat is corroded, and it's like touching my vocal cord.
For the first 5 years of his career, Corpse focused on creating videos where he would read out creepypastas without showing his face. His unique voice and choice to remain anonymous
is the mono pasta there?
To both his content and persona. This intrigue played a big part in thrusting him into the limelight, leading to over 1 million subscribers by 2020. It also opened doors to collaborations with industry figures like Boy in the Band and Anthony Padilla, who featured Corpse in a video titled "I Spent a Day with Faceless YouTubers," where he would interview Corpse. The interview felt tragic to say the least and set the tone of the public perception of Corpse moving forwards, with him openly speaking about his mental health, where he stated how hiding his identity contributed to his anxiety.
I have like very bad anxiety.
Yeah.
I never leave my house.
Do you feel like hiding your identity has led to all this anxiety about being in public?
It definitely added to it. I feel like I had other issues prior.
Yeah.
But it definitely made it more logical in my head, despite it probably being irrational.
On a more lighthearted note, this video was sponsored by Honkai Impact 3rd from
Disgusting.
The update and all check, but let's go back into finding why Corpse abandoned his audience. To make his anxiety even worse, Corpse had to become a compulsive liar in order to keep his 2 separate lives.
Have come up.
I have an apartment, and so when I have people come over, it's like, don't go in that room. And
well, that's like your YouTube room.
Yeah. And they're like, why? I'm like, don't. They're like, how do you have?
He has an eco on his voice. What do you mean eco? But dude, like, I can kind of like find it similar how like when it comes to like, you know, being a content creator or just doing stuff on the internet, your social life does kind of just go away. And I've mentioned this before. I think I've said it like a few times that I literally got no social life at all. Like, I don't go out. I don't go hanging out with friends. I don't go on parties. I don't go out drinking. I don't do much at all. I just like, I only go out if I need to get food, and like that's it. Like, there no absolutely zero social life, and that's just how it's been. But the way he's describing it, it almost sounds like he just doesn't want to go out, or he just wants to like stay inside for his own safety.
I have this money, and I'm like, I don't know. I just come off sketchy to everybody,
right? Because they don't know the truth, and they're like, you're hiding something.
Yeah,
it must be a dead body.
Like, I can't answer simple questions.
Have there been any moments that have been taxing to maintain 2 separate identities?
Oh, like all the time, like 24/7. I've had people over at my house who I know in real life, who are friends with my YouTube friends.
So
it's easy to get recognized. Oh yeah,
their friend, and my friend doesn't know I'm friends with their YouTube. It's very confusing. It's a very like Hannah Montana thing.
The decline of his mental health would come to no surprise, especially considering his choice of being faceless completely destroyed his social life, even getting to the point that he became too anxious to leave his house or even speak in public.
How does remaining anonymous affect your social life?
Pretty much eviscerated it.
Like, if I could imagine that if he did if he started out as like a male VTuber, I shall return apples call my name Mori. I could imagine if he started out as a VTuber, maybe things could have gone better. But like in general, I feel like there was a lot of content creators way back then who like did not want to do any face reveal. It would be like more pressuring on them because a lot of fans would like be wondering if they like what would they look like and all that stuff. But honestly, nowadays like face reveals became super mid. Like back then, it was such a big thing. Like, holy shit! So this is what this guy looks like, and whatnot. Now it's just like super. It's like there's like almost no point to it at some certainty, unless like maybe let's say you're like super famous or super popular. That there will be the time where you can actually hype up a face reveal. Unlike Dream, however. Because, dude, everyone immediately drops the elbow on Dream as soon as he did a face reveal. I didn't even know who Dream really was. I didn't even know who Dream really was, and everyone just drops the elbow on his face reveal. I think if he was a male VTuber, he'd still get the issues he already has. Yeah, he probably still would have. Not to mention, I do know, like, a lot of people were really hating on him for his voice.
Yeah, so you don't have any social life now?
No, nope. Not at all.
The benefits of being anonymous were far outshadowed by all the negatives that he was already experiencing, as he would state.
I don't feel like I can fully know the benefit of being not anonymous without doing it. And I can't really see into this like alternate dimension where I'm probably happier. I think it's way more stressful than it is beneficial.
At this point, you might be wondering why Corpse didn't just reveal his face and free himself of the burden of keeping his identity a secret. Well, he would also answer that.
I've left that door closed for so long that there's no gradual buildup. It's not, oh, I have 50,000 and now I'm gonna get noticed outside sometimes. It's opening that door and having all the buildup from millions of people now all at once. So it would be a dramatic life change.
The feelings and experiences Corpse mentioned in the interview would reflect on his YouTube channel, as he began posting more and more infrequently as his mental health got worse, eventually releasing his debut single Miss You in June of the same year, where he would express how badly his mental health had truly declined, with lyrics reading, "I don't want to look like this, I don't want to feel like this," as well as "No quiero estar aquí," which means "I don't want to be here" in Spanish. Later in the song, he would describe his YouTube channel as a glamorized desk job rotting away. To make matters even worse, Corpse would state that he suffers from an eye disease that causes inflammation when looking at screens, resulting in him needing an eye patch.
It started with my eyesight. I wasn't able to read stories because my eyesight was going, and whenever I would get checked for a prescription, they would tell me I have 20/20, but then I wouldn't be able to see when I'm reading.
With his video output slowing down, so did his channel growth. But when things seemed most hopeless for Corpse, a life-changing craze would be right around the corner. In August of 20...
and then the Among Us thing. Jesus Christ. Dude, it almost sounded like content creating just like went completely against him. Or like his health was just... His mental or his health was just not prepared for what was to come. Which is kind of crazy because you can kind of just look at it this way, that like you go on YouTube and you do all this stuff, but then you just didn't expect it to succeed. Here's the thing, if you don't really expect it to succeed, you're not going to be ready for what's to come, because you can kind of imagine how crazy it is for like just imagine it for like VTubers, right? Like female VTubers, they get super popular. They got a lot of fans that are expecting a lot from them, and like a lot of simps, and like they got so much fucking people that have high expectations from them that it in general stresses them out, and they gotta keep producing content, they gotta keep producing work, and they gotta like find other ways, and it gets to a certain point where it'll start to like mentally diminish them. And at that point, if it does start to mentally diminish you, or if you're really starting to lose your mind from it, then truthfully and realistically, you're not prepared for it. You're not prepared for it, and you didn't really think it through for what you wanted to do.
20, a social deception game named Among Us would take the world by storm.
This is where I actually started to hear about it a lot.
Liar to win. A lot of the game's success was a result of pretty much every big streamer playing it at the time, with creators like PewDiePie, XQC, Penguin0, and more, all playing the game together to entertain everyone stuck at home during the pandemic.
This reminds me, I saw PewDiePie play with XQC. I think this was like one of the first times PewDiePie played with XQC, and he expressed the fact that like XQC was literally one of the most annoying people he's ever played with. And the reason why is because like he mentioned that PewDiePie mentioned that like XQC just didn't know when to shut up, and he just likes to scream over people, and he doesn't even have like any proper manners or respect. So like I remember this being a thing between like Pewds and XQC. They don't really talk crap to each other or anything, but like Pewds basically just like told him, yeah, just I don't want to play with you anymore. That's it. So that's about it. This is the scariest thing when you're a famous VTuber. Well, I've mentioned it before that let's say if I ever like got doxxed out of nowhere, then to me it would just be okay, whatever. It would just be like a whole whatever thing and whatnot. Because I don't try to keep the whole VTuber thing like I don't try to stay like completely attached to the whole VTuber thing. I just do what I like to do. I just do what I like to do.
And these streams would be huge, garnering over 100,000 concurrent viewers, and the clips and re-uploads gaining millions. Entering September, Corpse's YouTube friend Boy in a Band would invite him to play Among Us on stream with PewDiePie and other massive streamers.
I was just hanging out on Discord, and then Dave Boy in a Band messaged me and was like, yo, do you want to play Among Us with PewDiePie on stream right now? And I was like, okay, sure.
The moment Corpse joins the
just imagine getting randomly texted, you want to play with me and PewDiePie? I would be like, huh? that would just be such a hilarious thing to receive.
His life changed forever, as his deep and raspy voice fascinated everyone who listened, and even made popular streamers treat him like a celebrity.
Yo, Corpse, what's going on?
We will be playing Helldivers.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Kick Kuno.
Wait, what?
Corpse's voice is like infrasonic bass.
Is that real? No.
Oh my god.
It's real, believe me.
It sounds like he'd be that dude who, like, you know, kills people in the game.
Or in a fist fight.
Yeah, he sounds like John Wick should sound.
Or voice fight.
He sounds like God and the devil should sound like.
I don't know. I guess I haven't done a face reveal, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Guys, who is Corpse?
Well, I just
totally
assume that someone
it.
with this voice might look like, you know, they don't look like what they sound like.
You're accurate. You're completely accurate.
He doesn't look like what he sounds like.
I feel like your voice is touching me. Is that a weird thing to say? I feel like your voice is hitting a part of my ear that's never been hit before.
Following his appearance on the stream, Corpse's channel completely exploded, gaining up to 160.
Yeah, no, I can imagine someone with a voice like that playing for a bunch of popular people would gain so much attention that quickly. 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. He gained internet fame. He got the biggest speed run for any individual content creator.
1,000 subscribers per day in October, making him the fastest growing creator at the time. With his Among Us videos gaining between 11 and 33 million views each, he would use the opportunity to release the song E-Girls Are Ruining My Life, which would eventually go platinum certified and chart in multiple countries. The success Corpse was experiencing at this point of time was on a whole new level compared to his previous 5 years as a content creator. He went from a popular creepypasta narrator to a personality that everyone wanted to learn more about. But the more popular he became, the more haters and detractors that appeared to try and ruin his career and life. Despite this, Corpse would end 2020 with over 6.3 million subscribers and 240 million views on his main channel. However, his overnight fame would ultimately come crashing down, and 2021 would be the year that would alter his career and life forever once again. But this time in not such a positive way. Whilst Corpse's success was at a peak, his health was reaching new lows. He would get a burning sensation when speaking due to GERD, and experience extreme muscle aches and fatigue due to fibromyalgia, which would cause him to leave games midstream.
Like when I left that raft game, like I was sitting there with like an eye patch on, my whole arm is numb, like I'm bleeding.
Like I mentioned before, I've heard that like the only like main reason why he like stopped content creating and all that stuff in general is because he got really ill. Like he could not survive if he kept doing this. So he legit had to stop himself before his condition would get any worse. So like I almost have no idea what's even going on with him, but in general I feel like the internet just made it 10 times worse for him, for how people were treating him. So in the end, it's all very understanding why he had to stop and why he had to leave. So yeah.
Bleeding out the nose and I'm just playing video games. Like,
I can hear.
It shouldn't be. I don't think that's something I can like do for a long time.
On top of this, his newfound audience would grow a parasocial obsession with him and learning more about the man behind the mask, similar to that of.
I'll be honest. If someone showed me that they had a tattoo of me, I would cringe. I would cringe and I would tell them to take that shit off. I would tell them, please, you just made a dire mistake. Don't have that shit on. Don't have a tattoo of me on you, please.
Dream, who was a faceless creator at the time. The pressure for Corpse to entertain
if I made a really crazy popular movie or TV show, sure, go ahead.
Even more heightened
as a content creator, that's kind of weird.
By Anthony Padilla, where he would reveal the sad changes the fame brought to his life. Corpse would state that he felt he had to be even more careful about keeping his identity private following the success.
Yeah,
I feel like I would be happier in a world where I could be myself openly and not worry about like hiding from everybody. But I do think it's also the best decision for me because I don't think I could handle that many people like judging me at once.
Corpse would also discuss how he felt like others didn't even treat him as a human.
In people's heads, I'm more of like a character or like a brand or like an anime character or something.
He just explained what it's like to be a VTuber. He just explained it in a few words right there, that what it's like to be a VTuber. You're treated like a brand or a character instead of a human being. Which again, that's kind of the whole thing. But this was like he wanted to just be himself, and he didn't want to be seen this way. So it's kind of like understandable. It's almost like he's saying he wanted to be a content creator, but he got seen as a VTuber. That like just I hope you guys kind of understand what I mean right there. But that's how he kind of just worded it. I wanted to just be a content creator who just likes to do what he likes, but like everyone's just treating me like I'm some kind of character to them. And not a human being.
Yeah. So they don't treat me as if I'm an actual person.
Corpse would also reveal how a lot of people on the internet were trying to dox him and how some of them were right.
Have you had any close calls with your identity being discovered since we last talked?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how specific I should get with them, but definitely.
Why? Because if you're specific, they might know how close it was and it might reveal it to them.
Exactly, yeah. They know 100%. Like
later in the interview, Corpse would address the hate he was receiving, as well as his experiment to test how far his haters would go.
What have been some of the downsides or struggles that come along with all of this?
Relentless expectations, and I get so much hate online every single day.
People already treat celebrities with their faces out there, famous people with their faces out there, no matter what they do, as if they're a dumpster. And then here you are without your face out there, so people get to treat you even more like you're not a real person at all.
I did a tweet on Twitter just to prove a point. I did a voice memo and I just breathed.
I remember seeing this. And people were losing their shit over it. But I did mention before that like one of like the benefits of just being a VTuber in general is that you still get to live like your normal life. And that's how in general I've just enjoyed myself as well, is that I just like to go outside. No, I don't want like people all over me or just going crazy over the fact that, oh my god, it's oblivious. I need to take a picture of him when I like to breathe the fresh air. But like he's kind of like at a situation where he can't really do that because he might just get recognized, or people just he might just get jumped because like there's so much hate around him. But I remember seeing that.
The infamous corpse breath tweet.
People will get mad at anything that's popular. I guarantee you I'm going to get so much shit for literally breathing. They'd be like, oh my god, you guys are so obsessed with him. Like, look at it, he's just breathing. And then like, or he's trying to breathe super sexually, or like, it's literally just breathing. But people want to spin it to be that.
He would also go on to address just how brutal his mental health had truly become.
I was and still am dealing with so much mental shit. When I was doing those Among Us streams first starting, like literally like 20 minutes before some of them, I was literally like faced with like and then I just get on in front of hundreds of thousands of people, you know what I mean? And it's like they don't see those things, you know what I mean?
Comments on the video would sympathize with Corpse, reading, "Most of us Corpse fans don't really want him to reveal his face. We want him to feel comfortable in the space he's created," as well as hearing him talk about his experience with fibromyalgia, crawling across the floor, unable to eat. "I know how that feels. Fibromyalgia is not fun. It's so hard. I really relate." Similar to Dream, a large portion of Corpse's audience was extremely parasocial, and whilst this did help Corpse go viral and grow his other social media platforms, it would also make even more people hate him due to his obsessed fans. However, it wasn't only the fans who were obsessed with him. Throughout 2021, groups of haters and detractors would attempt to expose Corpse's identity, and despite most of the photos not even being Corpse to begin with, they would generally receive quite harsh criticism on his appearance. Christ. It was like people expected him to look like a Greek god, and anything less would be labeled as ugly. In March of 2021, a post would be made to a foreign website not only revealing Corpse's face, but also tracking down where he lives and his family members. The doxing resulted in pictures of his face being plastered across the internet and attracted a lot of hate towards him, eventually garnering the attention of Philip DeFranco, who summarized the situation perfectly.
People are being absolutely shitty about the person featured. Which, I mean, if it's just some random person or it actually turns out this is Corpse Husband, still shitty. There are absolutely a ton of people responding with really nasty comments, calling the person in the photos ugly among other things, which also prompted other Corpse Husband fans to write things like, "This alleged face reveal just showed how fucked our world is. You think Corpse is this mega hot guy, then y'all start bullying him when he didn't meet your standards." As well as saying he literally sings about how self-conscious he is about his appearance, and you guys are out here bashing him because he didn't live up to your fantasy. Disgusting. Absolutely pathetic. Right? And this is nowhere near the first story of its kind. I think most recently we talked about this situation with Dream. But here's what I'll say. If you're one of the people out there that's writing just disgusting things or nasty things about this person who may or may not be Corpse, seriously, go fuck yourself and or grow up.
The mix of mental health, physical health, and toxic comments ultimately led Corpse to quit.
This is true about VTubers as well. Never expect them to look so beautiful, handsome, or super pretty or sexy. Remember, they're just a normal, ordinary person behind the model. Remember that.
With streaming and focus more on his music. This would lead up to the 23rd of November 2021, when Corpse would upload the final video to his main channel, titled "Choking My Friends," a video where he played Friday the 13th with other streamers.
Drown. Drown.
Holy Jesus! Water!
The benefits of having a voice like that.
What? We should not allow Corpse to be the killer because I am going to get trauma.
Despite the lack of video content, Corpse would continue posting music to his second channel, where he would still find success collaborating with artists such as Bring Me the Horizon, Scar-Lord, and
there it is, Bring Me the Horizon.
Dust, nostrils of a dust, or like veins too many needles touch. If pain is beauty, I'm a pretty bitch.
Oh god.
Now they're whispering.
Corpse's story on YouTube draws several parallels to that of Dreams, both being faceless creators who had large followings and extremely high expectations set up for their appearances by their viewers. However, Dream actually decided to reveal his face. On the 2nd of October 2022, Dream would upload the infamous video titled "Hi, I'm Dream," where in the video he would finally remove his mask.
Alright, for real, I'm dropping it. Hi. Feels so awkward. Talking to a camera for the first time.
While Dream isn't particularly bad looking, he instantly became a meme with comparisons to Lord Farquaad, as well as hashtag He's Ugly trending on Twitter the following day.
Jesus
the backlash Dream experienced after his face reveal was exactly the nightmare Corpse was desperately avoiding. Fast forward to 2024, and Corpse's channel is a shell of what
I'm just saying, that was a really boring face reveal. Just the mask lower and then just the hi. I've seen, dude. I've seen how to basic do it better, dude.
Once was, with his channel losing over 250,000 subscribers.
Actually, hold on. No, I've heard that the reason why Dream did a face reveal was because he mentioned. Well, no, not he mentioned. A lot of people were mentioning that his like channel was like slowly dying, so he had to find a way to like bring it back to life. So what he did was that he just did the face reveal, and it impacted him even more negatively.
And the view slowly stagnating. Corpse's story acts as a cautionary tale of the destructive power of fame and the unrealistic expectations placed upon those in the public eye. His unique voice and the mystery surrounding his identity propelled him to stardom, yet the weight of that success, his physical and mental health struggles, and an obsessive, toxic audience drove him away from the platform he'd built. The brutal doxing attacks and reception of Dream's face reveal affirmed Corpse's decision to prioritize his well-being. It serves as a reminder that even as we consume content, there are real people behind the screens. People who deserve privacy, respect, and empathy. Click the video on screen to find out how this—
Holy crap. Like, you can imagine, let's say if I or like any other super popular content creators were like to be like, they would have millions of subscribers and they would have 1 million followers and all that stuff. And then just imagine if they suddenly get doxxed, right? Like, holy shit. Could you imagine how many times they would have to like look at a fan in real life and be like, hey, do you remember how, do you know how I like to keep my identity private for a good reason? Well, that good reason is kind of like here right now. Can you please leave me alone so I can live my life, please? And that's it. It's like, it's something they don't really want. Not to mention, it's like, you could imagine Robert Downey Jr., right, as like Iron Man. Like he's seen as Iron Man and not as you know, just who he is in general, which is like a problem. There also used to be almost the same case with like Keanu Reeves, where people saw him as John Wick, and people were like, oh my god, he's gonna kill you, and then like, but realistically, Keanu is like one of the nicest guys out there. So like, it's kind of, it takes a toll when fans or people don't really understand that like in real life you don't want to be seen as a character in real life. In shows and movies and content, sure, yeah, you're seen as a character, but when it comes to real life, I think the fans need to kind of put it in their minds that you shouldn't be seeing them as a character when it comes to real life. No, it's a person. It's a person. It's just their job to be this character and whatnot. So yeah.